Good morning. Welcome to the E3 Live Market Report. I'm Pat McClatchy with the Ag Market Network. We're glad you're joining us this morning. Looking at our markets right now from overnight, we have soybeans up 5, corn up 1/4 cent, wheat up 3 cents, and the cotton market is rallied overnight. It's right now up 55. That puts July at 63.47. Looking at the outside markets that are always so important to the commodity markets, we have the dollar down 14. And as we look over at the crude oil is up about 21 cents a barrel, and the gold market's up about $1. We will be talking about the report as it comes out here in the next minute. Looking last week, we had some surprising numbers the market had to deal with. In cotton, we had a negative number, negative 21,800 bales. I think that caught most people off guard, and the market did have a difficult time dealing with it over the last week. The soybean number was 312,000 last week, corn 588,000, and wheat was a 47,700. So the wheat market also had a difficult time dealing with that. Most of the markets have had tight ranges over the last week. We haven't had a lot of range from low to high, haven't had a lot of movement. And we'll discuss some of the news behind the market in just a moment. Looking over at the latest information we've got coming out, we haven't mentioned new crop cotton. New crop cotton also is good. Up this morning about 43 at 64.06. And so the December, the last 2 days, has been firming up. Let's see what we've got here coming out right now with the numbers. Any moment we'll have these. We're just now coming out with jobless numbers that seem to precede the agricultural export figures. Cotton, 144,900. That's a very good number for cotton. Should react in a positive way to that. So far, we're still up about 55 or so. Looking over at the soybeans are 102,100, and that number is a little bit light. Looking at corn, 867,900. That's a good number. No real reaction yet in any of the markets. And the wheat number at 397,500. That's a nice improvement from last week's 47,700. So I think most of these numbers are good. I think we should have positive reactions as the market starts to digest these numbers. We have had the breakdown come out. Let's look at this right now. Cotton number, 144,900. Looking at the breakdown, that's China took 47,400 running bales. Colombia took 23,700, and then Vietnam took 20,500. New crop sales 67,100, and South Korea was the leader there. Actual shipments of 324,200, which was good. Cotton market right now up 70. So as we speak, the market's starting to rally. Let's now go to soybeans, the 102,100 metric tons. Let's see. We've got a breakdown in the soybeans of China took 32,300. Mexico took 23,500. Japan took 20,900. Looking over at beans, before the number came out, we were up 4 3/4. Now we are up 5, so no real change there. Let's go to corn. 867,900. That's up 48% from the previous week and up 68% over the 4-week average. Japan took 336,000 metric tons. Mexico took 156,100 metric tons, and Colombia took 149,900 metric tons. Corn market was up 1/4% before the report came out. Right now, corn's unchanged. I'm looking over at cotton. Cotton at the moment is up 118 points. Very favorable reaction in the cotton market. That's July, trading over 64 cents. We have the December up 78 cents at 64, up 80 cents at 64.43. So good reaction there. Let's finish up with the wheat. The wheat number 397,500. That was up noticeably from the previous week and the 4-week average. South Korea took 75,400 metric tons. Japan took 72,600 metric tons, and the Philippines took 59,300 metric tons. Wheat was up 3 cents before the number came out. Right now, wheat's up 3 cents, hasn't changed. Most of the movement seems to be in the cotton market. So let's take a look, and we'll keep posting you on this cotton reaction as we go forward. Let's talk first about soybeans, corn, and wheat. As I mentioned earlier, we'd seen pretty tight ranges there, not a lot of movement. The market has reacted over the last week to poor technical factors in the market. As the chart points, both corn and soybeans have tried to get over some important moving averages, which would have been positive for the market. And as it's tried a number of times, it's just not been able to hold on to its gains. So that's been a negative for the market for corn and for beans. This last week or over the weekend, there was talk about bird flu in the U.S. That was considered a negative because if crops are liquidated, it looks like there'll be less need for grain to feed the poultry in the poultry industry. So that was a negative earlier. The weather, we were looking at a break in the stormy weather. That had been considered a negative also. So we'll see. Outside markets have been very mixed. And as we look right now, the dollar is down a small amount. Crude oil is up a small amount, and gold is up $1. So there's not a lot going on right there. But over the last week, we've seen markets that have been fairly stable in their movement. And so we've seen fairly tight ranges in these agricultural markets that we follow. Looking at seasonals, the bean seasonal, typically this time of the year is topping. The corn seasonal is already topped usually. And then the wheat seasonal carries over into May in a normal year. Targets, soybeans, old crop beans. We've adjusted some of these targets as we've talked about them in recent weeks. Adjusted them down a small amount. Soybeans looking for old crop to get possibly to $9.95 to $10. New crop getting possibly to $9.80. Right now, old crop beans are at $9.76, up 4.5. New crop beans, the November beans, are up 3 3/4 at $9.57.5. Corn, old crop, we're looking for the market to possibly get up into the $3.90 to $4 level. Right now, July corn is at $3.80. New crop corn, looking for the new crop corn to possibly move into the $4 level. And right now, new crop is trading at $3.97. That's a misprint here for new crop corn. I think the expectation for new crop corn was more up toward $4.10 to $4.15. Wheat, old crop and new crop, expecting $4.15 to $4.20, and right now the July wheat is trading at just under that. Let's take a look at cotton now. As I'm about to talk about what's happened over the last week in cotton, I see the cotton market's up 125. We continue to hold our ground. December cotton's up 86, puts December at 64.51, and July at 64.10. We've been about 15 points higher than this, and it looks to be a very active market. Looking at the cotton, looking at the range in cotton over the last week, we've had about a 300-point range from low to high. But actually before today, now we're up today, so that is not necessarily this number, but we were basically unchanged over the last week. We've been up and down, but now with this rally, we're clearly up on the week. Some of the news, the last 11 days, we've dropped about 400 points. The short speculators, there was the feeling we could see the short speculators covering shorts, which would be very positive for the market. And also the talk of low cert stocks could lead to a squeeze in the market. That didn't happen. We saw the shorts in the market roll out into July and December. They got out of their May, but they didn't get out of their short positions. And also the cert stocks started to grow because of some of the medium grades started to appear to be certificated, and with that, the market started to react in a negative way. So what happens now? Well, we appear to be in a sideways market with support in the 62 to 63 level and resistance possibly back up where we got 2 weeks ago at the 66 to 67 level. And it could very well be over the next month or two, we might stay in that area. So we expect to see more news concerning weather start to affect the market. But for now, it's still looking at all these markets at the dollar, what the outside financial markets are doing, what the current weather is, and as we see business in the market, we see reactions like we did today. So that's really it for today. We appreciate you joining us for the E3 Live Market Report. I'm Pat McClatchy, and we hope you'll join us again next week. Thank you.